Yo, yo.
How you doing, Rog?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm not bad, mate. How you doing?
A wee bit sweaty, but not too bad, thanks. It's good to see you again. It's been a wee while now.
So yeah, obviously, like our viewers are gonna want to know what's happening right now. But with
Yeah.
Roger Cruickshank, former Typhoon pilot. But yeah, Rog, why are you cycling?
Yeah. So, that's a very good question, and I tell you what. Now that I'm only 2 hours in, with probably a good sort of 9 hours to go, I think, then I'm asking myself the same question. But you know what? It's all for a good cause, and like I've said, I intend to suffer so that other people don't suffer as much. And actually, I'm very grateful that I can do this. Sit in a bike. So I'm raising money for the RAF Benevolent Fund, and if people aren't aware, they do some fantastic work, looking after serving personnel or ex-serving and all their families of dependents. They do lots of wonderful things, for people who are injured, for example, from working in the service or even out with the service. They will help provide assistance or housing, all sorts of things, financially, emotionally. And to be honest, that's why I'm so passionate about it myself. It's because, so I'm having to change gear here. There's too many hills in this course. Because for me, as you know, I lost someone very close to me to suicide, and that put me on this mission to try and make a difference. And I've been trying to raise awareness of mental fitness, and you've been helping me, and I'm very appreciative of that. With the various videos and things that we've done, and of course talking all things aviation. But the RAF Benevolent Fund helped me with counselling when I was in a bit of a bad place, and it was fantastic. It really helped me through a bit of a dark time. Where I was at the time, and I'm very grateful. And actually, now that I've only got 2 weeks left in the Air Force, as I transition into the big bad world, civilian life, then it's quite fitting that I raise money for the RAF Benevolent Fund. So I'm actually just setting up my own business, Speed Ascent Coaching, which is to try and talk people through resilience, what is mental fitness in the workplace, or even just individually. I just want to try and help people down that road, provide my experiences, not because I know everything, but just because I like talking about it and I like getting the most out of people.
Absolutely, and yeah, Roger. I think what you on the same page like that, but what's your mental health like on a day-to-day basis? Do you have to I guess deal with it, or does it come in waves?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And actually, for me, I find it definitely comes in waves, but the biggest thing for me is learning to accept it. And when I feel like I'm sort of going into that negative place, that dark place, then accepting it, and instead of trying to push it to the side or to bottle it up, I try and have a good think about why it is and let myself feel that emotion, that grief, if it is that, or whatever it is, and then learn to move forward. And I've got to move forward with it or through it, because I've got lots of different coping mechanisms that have helped me. And actually, one thing is doing this. It's either on Zwift or outside on my bike, because it is my happy place. And I find that exercise is just so good for my mental fitness. And I think, it always will be. And that's actually my ambition with my business, is to set up a charitable organization that links mental fitness with cycling. And however I do that, adventures or, and doing a lot of these talks as well, trying to get people thinking in that sort of space. And that's my plan for the future.
Brilliant stuff, Roger. Yeah, I think one of the things I admire about you as well is you don't hide that, the fact that mental health, exists there. You always think fighter pilots just stiff upper lip, get on with it, but you push it out there. They're it's real and we can deal with it, and this is the way forward.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the most important thing is, in my opinion, is to get people realizing that your mental health or mental fitness is as important and should be viewed the same way as your physical fitness. So I find that for me, actually, my mental fitness is improved by doing this, by sitting on a bike for maybe not 11 hours, but maybe just, doing it, maintaining it every day. But also I do meditation and mindfulness and breathing techniques and visualization, things that will, help me feel more positive about myself, help me take control of the millions of thoughts bouncing around my head every day, because we're all the same, and that's what everybody goes through. And it's just figuring out how we deal with that, but not in a negative way as well. I think of this not in a negative way because of suicide that I've experienced in my family, but of the sense that every time I've managed to make the most out of myself, my journey, it's been all about this and get myself in a good place. So actually I just want to be a better version of myself, and that's why I launched the business. It's not like some sort of money-making scheme, because why would it be? It's to do with trying to get the most out of people, because, well, it's just because of what I have experienced, from my injuries, my 9 pins in a plate in my left leg, my 4 metal coils in my face, all my metal work that I've still got there today. It's those things, and obviously some of the work with the Air Force as a Typhoon pilot, who were put in pretty nasty situations where we are, having to, do things that I will never regret, but they're hard decisions to make as a fighter pilot, and I think those things as I grow older, that I'm at peace with, but I've got to make sure that I accept what I've done and all the things, all the good stuff, the bad stuff, but the ugly stuff as well. And I think that's really important. And I'm thankful to say that my time in the Air Force went well, because I was always, I failed loads of times, loads of tests, and made, mistakes left, right, and center. But I always wanted to grow from them and be better, and keep looking to try and be a better pilot. So again, it's all linked to this, mental resilience and mental fitness. So that's why I do what I do.
Absolutely. And Rog, I have to ask you, have you seen Top Gun 2?
Yes, I have. I've watched it twice. I watched it the first time with my wife and thought that was awesome. I absolutely loved it. It was like, for me as well, because I'm at the end of my fighter pilot career, it was like perfect timing, just something to really, truly remember what I've done, previous chapter of my life. And because it's so authentic, a lot of it, obviously, a lot of it's Hollywood, but then some of it is just so authentic with the flying footage and the calm that they use, something truly special. And then my dad came down to visit down here in Devon, and he hadn't seen Top Gun 2. I was like, Dad, we're going. We booked tickets that night and off. So it was an honor to watch Top Gun 2 with my dad. Very lucky.
Brilliant.
So, love it.
Brilliant stuff. And I'm going to have to, I'm going to ask you a few aviation questions here, obviously, Roger.
Obviously, absolutely. Why not?
Yeah. Did you ever get in this, when you were flying the Typhoon, did you ever get the chance to go up against I don't know if the Super Hornet was about them, but or the Hornet in general?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah. I fought against the classic Hornet, which was out in Malaysia. So what they were flying out there, and so that was fantastic. And what an honor to fight against those guys. And yeah, I mean, I've been very lucky in my career. I've fought quite a few different aircraft, and I mean, also very lucky to be in a Typhoon. With that specific excess power that the Typhoon has. That that basically that extra thrust, almost over more than everybody in the world, almost. So it always got me out of trouble when I make mistakes.
Yes, I remember like that one. I think when we were like the initial interview, when you were just said, I think you were like, I can't remember, it was like maybe 200 feet over the sea. You were like, you throttled back and then pulled in the burners, and you were just like, and you went rocket, and I was like, that's cool. Yeah,
I mean, that is one thing that, because there's, of course, it's a job at the end of the day, and so every minute you fly, it's always about trying to take off a currency, get ready for something. If you're going to war, if you're going to even fight against maybe another aircraft. You want to practice your dogfighting. There's all sorts of things that you're constantly training towards. But then, of course, there's times where you've just got to be comfortable with the aircraft, and that involves things like going down to 250 feet over the sea, going back to that sort of, well, not minimum speed, but slow, putting in the burners and going for it, and just feeling like that immense thrust of the aircraft. It's just, what a machine. I mean, I'm so thankful that I did my 7 years on the Typhoon. I am going to miss it, but then at the same time, I'm going to make sure I stay in the flying world as well. I'm going to be flying for BAE Systems, flying the Hawks, and potentially out in Saudi is the sort of current plan. So hopefully I'll still be involved and still flying lots, as well as doing my business, on the side and virtually wherever I can. So yeah, I'm lucky. I can't wait to get back flying again, because it's been a wee while.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like you went out to Saudi. Did you actually get to fly any of the Saudi Typhoons?
No, unfortunately not. So when I was out there, I was doing more of a contract job, so more like helping out with the with some of the contracts in between the UK government and the Saudi government. And what really BAE Systems deliver out there. So it was really fascinating though, and I really enjoyed Saudi actually, and I met some great people, and lifelong friends out in Saudi as well. So that I'm very, very lucky to have seen the best bits of Saudi. Going out in the desert, getting my car stuck, and then getting rescued by some of the wonderful locals from Riyadh. So I've got some, and then having coffee, amazing Arabic coffee in the desert. So
nice.
I've had some amazing experiences and stuff that I'll remember forever. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm keen to go back.
Brilliant. And another aviation question. I'm getting nerdy here, Rog. Yeah.
Sure.
Did you ever go up against the F-15Cs at Lakenheath?
Yes, we did actually. I think when we were fighting against the F-15Cs, I think I did some 2v1. So it was ACM, Advanced Combat Maneuvering, with 2 F-15Cs and then myself and the Typhoon. And I'm happy to say that I did pretty well, because obviously there's 2 of them and there's 1 of us, so we've got to be pretty sporty with how I handle the situation and where I position the jet in the fight. But then, of course, the Typhoon is, an awesome machine. Now, I'm not saying that that's down to me as the pilot. It's like, the Typhoon really is a wonderful machine, and I, managed to get myself sort of in good sort of firing positions and out of firing positions of the F-15 Charlie. So yeah, we did, and it was amazing getting to fly up close. I think I remember a very specific memory of me flying in battle formation, so 3 aircraft in a row, just looking across at the 2 F-15 Charlies, and that was really something I'll never forget.
Awesome. Yeah, and I remember one of the brilliant story you told in the interview as well is I think you went, I think it was Red Flag, and you said you went up against an F-16. You were like the bloke in the F-16. You looked huge.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I remember thinking it was like I was fighting Donkey Kong. It really was like a big guy sitting in this in the F-16, and it was actually a Top Gun instructor that I went up against in Typhoon, and it was some of the pre-flying ahead of the exercise Red Flag. So we were we just got this amazing opportunity to do this DACT, so dissimilar aircraft combat training with this F-16, and oh yeah, what one experience, over the desert over there, flying out of Nellis Air Base, fighting against this Top Gun instructor, and luckily holding my own. I did well. I managed to get him. It was close, so I made some schoolboy errors. I remember that, and panicking because again, we should in the Typhoon be in a position where we can take an F-16. But I did manage, but only just.
So, Red Flag was, obviously the Tornado F3 phase, no one, it was it's not a threat. But was the Typhoon, considered a complete threat to, red air, blue air, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, it was, absolutely. So, Red Flag, it was still very, very much known as the 4.5 gen fighter, you know, the 4.5 generation fighter. So obviously not a 5th gen like the F-35 or the F-22, but at the same time, a very effective aircraft. So we were like be on the front leading edge, and so we'd be able to sort of get out there, get in their face, but then we'd have obviously the assistance of the 5th gen fighters behind us using their incredible sensors and giving us the better picture. So yeah, we had an incredible reputation actually, also because of some of the multi-role. That's me completed that hill, thank goodness. So some of the multi-role events where, for example, there's one specific story, a mate of mine, it was actually, he went on to become one of the Reds, and there's a story of him who he managed to get himself in sort of air to surface mode, dropped to Paveway 4 live on a simulated target out in the desert as part of exercise Red Flag. And then what happened during that part of his flight, there were some enemies, so Red fighters, that managed to get through, and they were getting towards the sort of the CAP, so the Combat Air Patrol Point, at the sort of further eastern edge, which would mean that would be an automatic mission fail for the blue fighters, even though they dropped these weapons. And obviously it happened in the air-to-air that Red had managed to get through the air-to-air blue picture, so the good guys, the allies. But luckily, as he was exiting and not RTBing, but flowing back east after dropping the weapon, he was able to, use air-to-air and use, I can't remember, it was an AMRAAM. Yeah, I think he managed to get a successful AMRAAM shot. Nice. Using obviously the simulated graphics that they use and everything. And it was only like 4 miles before the Red Air crossed the mission fail line. So it was like the Typhoon, the RAF Typhoon was like an absolute hero at that point. So there's lots of cool stories like that. That kind of shows that it's a very effective platform, yeah.
Absolutely. And did you ever go up against the F-22? I don't think I've asked you that, Rog.
No, unfortunately not. No, I do have friends that have, and they've fared very well against the F-22 when it comes to the dogfighting sense. And I do have friends that have gone on to flight as well, and say that it's an incredible aircraft. But of course, like anything, it's pros and cons, and what you intend on using the platform for. And that, as a 5th gen fighter, it's a good dogfighter. But actually, the Eurofighter is pretty awesome. So, yeah. So it's some machine. And I tell you, there's times that I wish I'd stuck at the Air Force a bit longer to try and get opportunities like that to fly the F-22 or the Lightning. But at the same time, I'm happy with what I've done and what I've achieved. So on to the next chapter for me. Absolutely.
And obviously with the Queen's death, obviously recently, but you managed to go to Buckingham Palace, didn't you? And was it Prince William? Was it William?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 2017. Yeah, Prince William awarded me the DFC, the Distinguished Flying Cross. So that was, that was a really special moment for me and the family. Like, it's kind of like I used to be a professional ski racer, so. Yeah, it's like my gold medal, in flying, similar to what I've done in the ski racing. Well, never achieved a gold medal, in the higher races, but for me, it was really nice to also meet Prince William in that sort of space, because I've actually met him before at Linton on Ouse when he was based there flying, as was I. So I'd not got to know him, wasn't close to him, but I had some really nice conversations with him. So then to meet him in that sense was fantastic. It was an absolute honour, and some of the words he said to me, because I took the opportunity to say how much it meant to me what he does for mental fitness, because I didn't say anything about him losing his mum, but ultimately that's what it comes down to, and I relate because I lost my mum, as you know, and that's what made it very special, was to say to him that I'm absolutely honoured that he was giving me the award because of what he does for mental health and how honest he is and how he fights that corner. He really does try to raise awareness, and I truly respect him for that. And he gave me some very kind words at the time and told me what an incredible job I was doing. He'd already been aware or been made aware, I guess, of my campaigning as well. with mental health. And then my Instagram lit up because of the Royal Foundation, the Royal Household had sort of pushed my story out there. So yeah, it was a true honor, absolutely.
Yeah, like go on to the mental health thing here, Rog. Do you think I mean, like, where would you direct people to, people having like bad times in their head? Like, where would you push them to, like, maybe, go and get some help?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different organizations out there that they will help you, they will talk to you, they will try and give you that, that person that you can just get something off your chest. Because I always say, and I felt this myself, that I found if I have something, all these thoughts, and they can be, say quite negative, quite dark.
Yeah.
What I need to do is I need to say them out loud, because when I say them out loud, I truly understand them. And instead of it being like a million thoughts that you're trying to make sense of, when you say them out loud or write them down or journal, then that's actually how you can really make sense of
yes.
what you actually feel, where's it actually coming from, what's the real reason. So to have someone help you through that process as well is very good. And there's, like if there's anyone needs immediate help, then the Samaritans are fantastic. And yeah, there's just so many different organizations in the Air Force. Actually, the Benevolent Fund that I'm raising money for now, they're fantastic with a lot of the counseling and everything they do. And for serving personnel as well, there's actually headfit.org, which is a really good website. And you can go through that, and there's a whole bunch of mental fitness tools that look at the different techniques of, again, not in this sort of negative space, but trying to maintain and improve your mental fitness with, simple things like walking in nature. Sometimes we just don't do enough of that. We just go out away from our screens, or maybe listen to a podcast. I like to listen to the noises of nature, as cheesy as it sounds, but actually it's just so good for us. So yeah, there really are lots of avenues. You just got to get yourself out there and speak open and honestly about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me as well, my partner is a massive like strong point for me. Like I'll say I'm not feeling very good, but she'll just be, everything's fine. I don't know if it's the same for you, Rog.
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. My wife and I, we very much are honest with each other, and have gone through a lot of these dark times together. That things that have happened in our lives. And again, we all have our baggage, we all have things that we need to work out and get our way through. So that's why I think it's really important then you have at least someone, because I do it very publicly, or I try and raise my head above the parapet to give people the confidence to do the same. But if they're doing the same, it doesn't have to be in a public forum like I do at all. I don't, I think it's better just to give them the confidence to go, to their best mate and go, oh mate, I'm just not feeling 100% right now, emotionally and mentally, and I'm not sure why. And it's amazing the response you'll probably always get, which is, that person has gone through something themselves, but they've just never said anything to that person. And as soon as you get the conversation going, you realize that it's normal. And then all of a sudden you've got this mate who you can just have this normal conversation with, and it's no big deal because it happens to everybody.
Yeah, I've got a best, I've had times, I've been, last year and stuff, like, I'm not been feeling great. And then I'm like, I'll just sit with my mate, I'll be like, I'm not feeling too great. Like, do you want to talk? Do you call you? And it's like, people understand, it's not like this weird thing where people, just push it under the carpet, for your love and whatever respect, so that they want to talk to you, which I think is a great thing. And I think that's communication is probably the main thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, we are definitely getting better at that as a society. And it's people are, getting the confidence, and it's becoming a bit more normal to have that conversation. But then I do think that people need to really look into and actively try and improve or maintain their mental fitness, and be it doing fitness or doing meditation or even like, for example, I'm a professional bike mechanic now. It's one thing that I did as I've been leaving the Air Force, this course that I did, fantastic. And I found that that's just my happy place. So when I'm working on bikes, I'm there tinkering away. All I'm thinking about is just trying to make that a bit work, to fix that bike. And I just sort of disconnect my worries, and I'm just focusing on that. I've heard people talk about it when they're working on Land Rovers or gardening, or so it's just for people to actively pursue something that will help that. And it's not taking their mind away from something and pushing it to the side. It's actually just doing something that they love and something that makes a difference to them, where they can actually feel good. And it's like quite often things when you're working with your hands as well, so you're taking away your crazy busy mind, and you're using your hands to work on something or do something, painting, drawing, creative. So yeah, I think that's really important as well.
And did you ever, like, I'm sorry if any time here, Rog, because I know you're like a busy man at the moment, but did you get like any mental health issues when you were in the cockpit on the Typhoon?
I guess for me, I had times where, to put it down to, an emotional or mental thing was fear of failure. So I remember countless times being in a position where instead of just making a decision and sticking to it, then I would be constantly second guessing, third guessing, fourth guessing myself.
Right.
And that would obviously not be very conducive to the job, because sometimes you just need to make a decision and stick to it, and then reassess and clearly change it up if needs be. So in that sphere, that was my lack of self-confidence and self-assurance. Like, for example, a few years ago, I'd never be able to do this because I'd be too worried about saying something stupid live and making a mistake. But then as I've done a bit more of this and realized that actually all I'm going to do is my best, and that's what I'm certain I will keep on doing. And actually Stoicism has helped me, which is simply is all about doing the right thing, not allowing yourself to react to the what ifs in the future, just actually concentrating on the now and enjoying it as well. Although I'm not enjoying this so much. I'm enjoying the conversation with you, but not the pain in my legs.
Yeah.
But no, if that makes sense, I think it's something that I've truly found to better my mental fitness and believe in myself, and I think that is all to do with resilience. So pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone to see how you can bounce back from things, because then that gives you the confidence to be the best version of yourself. I think that's so important.
And did it you go into the squadron room or the officer's mess or anything like? In your day, I know probably back in the 80s and 90s it was different, but if you said like, I'm feeling a bit down, would there be like a stigma there, or would you not even talk about it?
Yeah, good question. There's definitely something you wouldn't even talk about. It didn't even exist.
Even in your time?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I found it was a place of dog eat dog, and you show no weakness.
Weakness.
I had to be sort of like that myself. I had to be hard-skinned and just hard-nosed and just get on with it. But what I discovered after I lost my mum to suicide, then it very much changed my outlook. I stopped caring about that. I stopped caring about what people thought, or this show no weakness, because I'd suffered this grief that was completely unexpected, and it made me stop caring about that that sort of noise, and going, this is me, I will do my best, and you can F off kind of thing, But then that's how my sort of attacking mentality went. But then I realized that if I showed, not say weakness, but if I sort of showed my cards, then it was amazing what came back, and people started opening up to me. And then all of a sudden I had this amazing network of people talking to me privately on the squadron and opening up and being honest with me. And I became a trusted agent to them, and they were a trusted agent to me.
Nice.
And that was all ranks in the Air Force, on the squadron, or throughout. And I found that that's why the mental health campaigning it's helped me as well. You know, I've been doing it to raise awareness, but actually it's helped me. And, you know, writing my book, Speed of Sound, Sound of Mind, that process, it was cathartic, and it helped me because hearing it helped others would actually in turn help me. So that's, you know, and that's why I wanted to do, I was happy to do this interview with you because, well, I love talking about aviation, but, you know, I love talking about this stuff because it just gets people talking and thinking, you know. So yeah, I think it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think I've asked a few people this, but did you ever get like a tea break? You know, just like it's lunchtime on the squadron.
On the squadron, well, yeah, but actually, like say for example, when I was going through flying training or on the training system with the Hawk, you know, because I was a flying instructor on the Hawk, then yeah, we do, you know, a lot of that, and actually it was really important because then you get to hang out with your students and get to build up that rapport with them. But truly on the fighter squadron, on the Typhoon, it was too busy. You know, we were just constantly rushing from one thing to the next. It was actually when we went on operations or detachments, then we'd maybe have a bit more time. But it was just very busy with, I know, yeah, I'm sure you probably heard the sob story, but with the Air Force, it's very, very task overloads and resource limited. And that's just how it is. Everyone loves their job, puts their full commitment into it, but it's tough to keep that going. But then at the same time, we had some amazing get-togethers. You know, when it was like a bad weather flying day, I need a really bad weather flying day for the Typhoon, but then we could have a proper, you know, get-together and then get that rapport in the squadron. So it is, that community is so important as well. So even though it was hard to come by on the Typhoon, it was important to muster.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you you know, friends for life on your squadron and the Typhoon community.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, honestly, I think as well, when some of the jobs that we did, we're putting ourselves and our, you know, in very sort of dangerous situations, and when you scrape through that and you come back, you share it as a, you know, with you and your wingman, you share it as a team, and it brings you closer. You know, like I remember one of my friends had I won't go into the details, but had a very close aboard with another large aircraft, and it was one of those things where, you know, an air prox where he nearly collided with another aircraft and would have died and would have killed other people in the process. And that whole thing shakes everybody. It's not just that person. And then you got to support that person, get them talking, look into their mental fitness, and bring out, you know, accept what it is to them, what it is to you. And so I think there's those experiences that make you so close and want to better yourself so that you can help them as well. So yeah, it's a really family feel, and that's one thing I'm massively going to miss as well as I leave the Air Force. But then I do have these friends for life. And actually, one great thing about doing this, you know, I've got some of my great friends who we're cycling in a 4-ship here at the moment, you know, and it's I think unless anyone's joined us recently, but that's amazing, and there'll be more people who finish work and then come and help us when we're still dragging our ass around Zwift on the bike at probably 11 o'clock tonight, you know. So this is why I love doing this, you know, getting people connected, even though it's over Zwift, you know, an online gaming indoor cycling platform. Hey, it works and it gets us all talking.
Absolutely. And like I've got a couple of more questions before we wrap up this chat, Hodge. So like, you know, if you were on the squadron when you were like there and you weren't feeling very well, or you know your mental health wasn't great, would someone pick up on that and say like, I don't think you should go flying today? Was that like that?
Yeah, you know what? Although because of being so busy, it wasn't always the most conducive to that. But then it was, a simple question right at the beginning of the brief or the planning process to say, are you fit to fly? And the more we got talking about our own mental fitness and our mental states, then the more that we'd start to highlight these things and ask that question, not about, it was a very general question, but could cover how you're actually feeling as well. And I think it became actually quite relevant on the Squadron, where we had various people who were, like, say, for example, I am a mental health first aider. So one of my jobs is to try and be that person who looks out for that,
right,
and signpost them to help. So like, I'm not an expert professional, but I want to and can, help people and signpost them in the right direction.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, like I think especially in like this day and age now, I think that's like, you should have like a key point, like yourself, like you can kind of like, well, I can see when someone, like, if a mate's not feeling good, I can be like, no, you're not, I can tell something's wrong. Do you know what I mean? I think that's it's a great point. But Rog, where can we donate? I think just click on your, is it SOS the Coaching?
That's right. Yeah, so my fairly new Instagram page, where I'm trying to just promote what I think mental fitness is and how we should be bettering it, and also obviously my business in that space. So I put my link in my bio there. So it's Speed of Sound Coaching Limited is the name of my company, and therefore the name of my Insta page. And there's a Just Giving page. So it was actually through the April Fool's Club. So there's a link, as you'll see, through Just Giving, and all the money is going to the RAF Benevolent Fund. I think we're up to about 33, maybe even 34,000 pounds now as a team. So it's going really well. So not everyone is doing the Zwift challenge. Some have opted out of this, but we did 100, well, the same distance, but 2 days around Yorkshire. So, but of course, I've done a lot of this, so decided with Mike Waring that we'd add an extra wee challenge and do it in Zwift in a day, which, ask me later if that was a good decision or not, and we'll see.
So who's Mike Waring? Is he a former pilot or?
Yeah, he is indeed, yeah. So he is, we've been friends for years, because actually, when I was going through officer training for the Air Force as an acting pilot officer, or even an officer cadet, he was the one, the flight lieutenant at the time, who called me and said that, or it was asking me if I could join the RAF ski team, because he knew about my skiing. And I said, oh, well, yeah, I guess so. I'm not sure about flying training and all this. So he was the one who sort of got me involved. And then we've been friends ever since, because he was the RAF ski team captain, and he loves doing crazy challenges like this. And he's still in the Air Force, and he's the boss of a UAS squadron. So he does a fantastic job trying to get the most out of, the younger folk coming up into this world, as in into the world of the Air Force. So, and he does a fantastic job leading that push.
Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, like, so everyone go and follow Rog and go and donate. But Rog, can we still find your book online? Is it still available?
It is, yeah. It's on Amazon.co.uk. Just search for Speed of Sound, Sound of Mind. The money from that still goes to charity. If anybody wants a hard copy, that's for the Kindle online, electronic version. If anyone wants a hard copy, just give me a shout on Speed of Sound Coaching Limited. Just drop me a message on there, and I will get one in the post to you.
Awesome stuff, Rog. Well, I'm going to wish you the best of luck for another billion hours. Have you got left? I can't remember.
Well, yeah. So I think it's going to be about 8 hours left. Maybe
8 hours left.
Yeah.
Well, Rog, thank you very much for coming on the chat. It's always a pleasure to chat to you, and I'm sure I'll talk to you soon. But thank you, and good luck to you and the team.
Great to chat to you again, mate. All the best. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
See you, mate. Cheers.
Cheers.